Hello everyone, welcome to another episode on our speed run against V Soribs, rated 1474, who plays C6. We're going to still go for our Stonewall setup as that doesn't mess it up. So we put our bishop towards the center to cover this square, which I've shown you many times already. And now this guy goes G6, kind of blunting our bishop, kind of messing with our attacking plans. However, even though you don't have to go into a Stonewall, you could just go knight f3. You could still try to go for it. So let's try to go for it still. Let's develop our knight. He Fianchettos. We could play c3, just disguising our intentions for one more turn. Although actually we probably shouldn't have, because after he Fianchettos, he's kind of threatening e5. And if we want to play the Stonewall, we should stop that. So we should have played f4, and if we want to force a Stonewall. But it's okay. He develops. Now we'll play it. And he cannot jump in here. Hopefully the volume is a little bit better. This is the first video I'm recording after reading that the volume's messed up. I had recorded a bunch of videos at once, so they all are messed up. So anyway, he jumps his knight here. We've seen a bunch of people target this pawn before, but it never actually worked out for them. Specifically because in this position, he's undefending the e4 square. e4 is generally the best move for many turns if he allows it. Here he's allowing it. If you push, though, you have to consider if he jumps his knight in. I think we had almost something super similar, and then we put our queen to e2, and his knight had nowhere to go, but he ended up sacrificing it for a pawn, something ridiculous. So let's go e4, just dominating the center. And then if he jumps his knight in, we can go queen e2. He does jump in, which is kind of crazy because it's trapped, right? Maybe you can even go queen f3, but I'm going to stick with queen e2, leaving that square open for my knight, aiming at the king. And is he going to sack like the other guy did? Or is he going to retreat, which just wasted a ton of time? In both scenarios, white's doing amazing. Try to put this thing closer to my face, so it's weird because when I watched the video back on my computer, I mean, they were lower, but if I just put the max volume, I could hear it just fine. Like it wasn't a big deal as long as I put the volume up. But I don't know why it changed. Weird. I guess when I got the new headphones, it reset or something. So let's see what this guy does. Now it's just dawning on him, hey, maybe I shouldn't have put my knight here because it's kind of stuck. And because psychologically people don't want to go back to where they came from and admit their mistake, they try to do something fancy like this or sack the knight. So here he tries to intermezzo. So he takes a pawn. Now if we take this pawn with our knight and improve our knight, his knight does have retreat squares, but I mean that's not a big deal. He's still moving his knight around for no reason. If you take with the bishop, I mean you definitely want to put your knight there instead. If you take the knight, then he could take your light square bishop. I don't really like that. So let's take the pawn. And now he'll retreat his knight somewhere. Okay, he goes to a weirder square than I thought. And now we just have a much better position. So we could continue our development since I don't see any good looking forcing moves. So knight to the center makes a lot of sense. We can kick his knight whenever we want, but he probably wants to go back anyway. So I'm not trying to force him to a better square. He develops his bishop. It's not even a pin. It's not a threat. So we can ignore it. So if we continue with the principles, we should probably castle. And our position looks great. Our queen is aiming at his king, and now he castles. This is all very good stuff. So we have a very nice position. Now I'm going to go h3. Since all of my pieces are kind of set up in place, everything's defended, covered, we have a lot of development. Now I'm going to kick it back. And now that he goes here and can't play f6, I can jump my other knight in and he can't kick it with f6 immediately. Anyway, there's also g4. But, I mean, that's just a whatever move. He's probably going to trade a bunch of stuff now, like a lot of stuff. Unless I move my knight to specifically avoid trades. I don't really care, though. I'm just going to finish my development. I mean, you could put your knight in the center, but I want to go here, go rook ae1. Then I'll put my knight in the center. Kind of try to do things in order. And I like our position. Try to play on the E and F files. See what black does. I don't know what his plan is, other than just trade a bunch of stuff. Which is fine, because then he tries to get into a drawish position. But if black wanted to win, I don't see how, like what his plan would be. And all of our stuff looks nice. Maybe we'll try to get in the f5 pawn push, the pawn break as a plan. Try to get access to his king. To do that, we need to dislodge his bishop. So now g4, his bishop does whatever, f5. So that's our next plan. Maybe you could have done it last turn. Let's see here. He takes, you take, he takes, you take. He goes e6. I don't know, but he moved. What did he do? Okay, he played a weird pawn move that tells me maybe he wants to just play c5. Try to undermine our center, something like that. That's fine. I'm going to get my last piece in the game. And now everything is so close, compact, all supporting each other. Now he plays e6, but now his bishop is trapped. He also weakens the dark squares. Also makes a future f6 a lot worse because this position would be weak. So now our knight here is more stable. So we have lots of options. We could jump our knight in. We can play g4, among other things. So g4 kind of forces him to take with the bishop. When we take back, he's probably going to take it. When we take back, we have a nice position. He'll go rook over. We can't exactly, maybe we can get away with f5, but maybe not. I mean, it's just a lot of junk. It's probably good, but I'm just looking for different stuff. I'm trying to see if there's a way to take back with my knight instead of the bishop, so I don't give him my bishop. But I guess it doesn't really matter. Huh. So g4 to g4 or not to g4? Maybe just knight in the center. Yeah, let's start with knight in the center. We can always go g4 next while our pieces are improved. And look how nice our pieces look overall. Just aesthetically, very pleasing. And at some point, he'll probably just initiate the trades, even if we don't go g4. But I mean, a move like this would be natural, but then your pawn would be hanging due to your b6 move. If he wants to be consistent, he would play c5 because he just played b6. But we could take it. No big deal. And then go back to whatever our plans were before. What does he do? Not so clear. I plan on just going g4 in the near future. Black, I mean, an engine would play fine, but a human's going to have trouble with this. For sure. So he starts with he initiates the trades voluntarily. We have to take. He may even give up his bishop as extra trades. We'll see. But when in doubt, players generally just start trading stuff when they don't know exactly what to do. So is he going to continue the trades? If he doesn't, I wonder if we can win his bishop by moving ours and trapping his. Like if we move ours and then threaten g4, something like that, he could try to escape, but maybe we could block him. Not sure. But let's see what he does. Now this pawn is currently threatened, which he may or may not notice. But I'm expecting more trades. And then c5. Something like that. Black hasn't been playing aggressive or ambitiously at all. They're just kind of trying to hold with their passive setup. Let's see if it works, if they can get a draw, or if we can outmaneuver them. We have a nice lead on the clock, which is always helpful. Our rooks, look at the positioning of our rooks, right? And look at the positioning of their rooks. Not the same. So they initiate trades, exactly what I predicted. Again, this pawn is hanging. So wouldn't be surprised if further trades came. If they push the pawn, I will take the rook. So here come those further trades that we mentioned. We have to take this way because our bishop is loose, and we want to take this way anyway. Now we have some access for our bishop to play the game. Now c5. So exactly what I predicted. The trades come, and then c5. However, as I said, if they play c5, I will take the rook. Is there any chance of junk? If they move the knight, it hangs. If they move the knight, I take the queen. There's no junk. That's a free rook. GG's. Okay, they go pawn grabbing. And consider, is this a threat? Well, if they take it, I get to put my bishop on a defended square, protecting my center. That's obviously going to be fine. More importantly, I should probably take care of my queen, do something better with it. There is also bishop h6 if you wanted. It's kind of up to you, but I want to look at my queen. There is a pawn hanging. Not so much for the pawn, but as to get out of the alignment of his rook. So let's kind of, well, I kind of don't want to because I don't want to let his knight develop naturally. I want to cover it. And I guess since my queen isn't threatened, I don't really have to move it. So what do I want to do? The one thing I know I'm not going to do is take him and bring his queen in. So what do I want to do? Okay, let's hit his rook. It's improving a piece for free, so that's fine. Free stuff is also fine if you take the pawn. So he moves his rook, fine. Now can we checkmate this guy? Oh, actually, yeah, this is a good sequence. So before I was looking at when I take this pawn, I'm targeting this, but his rook was defending. But now his rook's not defending. So now when I take the pawn, he doesn't have time to develop his knight because we'd be threatening mate. So now if I take the pawn, he can move his rook up. And then we can either go back or kind of go here and then try to checkmate him. Or we can just go here, threatening this. He kind of has to defend with the queen, or we go queen f6. But then bishop g5, trying to switch the position of the bishop and the queen. And if he takes the bishop, we take here check. He goes here, we take the rook. So let's go here and go for mate with the cool idea of bishop g5 hanging a piece on purpose to deflect his queen from the defense of f7. But you're never going to find bishop g5 if you don't look for the cool move. If you don't look for the, hey, can I just hang a piece here, right? You have to be in that mindset. If you're just in a normal mindset, you'll never consider just hanging a piece like that. But it's pretty cool. I like bishop g5 a lot on queen e7. Because otherwise, without that, it's going to be hard to get your queen to h6 and your bishop to f6 without, like, it'll be a lot slower. You'll have to protect it and then switch your queen over and then try to go for checkmate. But if you can get your bishop here for free on hitting his queen and then he retreats or something, then you can stick your bishop on f6 nice and cozy and then see what happens. There's lots of different ways it can happen. But right now, let's see if he even notices what's happening. Maybe he thinks I was just trying to save my queen. He doesn't notice the threat. But it's a pretty obvious threat, right? Okay, not as obvious as I thought. How do you not notice that, though, after like 5 minutes? Okay, so there's checkmate. Unexpected. I thought they would have seen that for sure. But it happens. So let's go over the game. We try to get our Stonewall of development and center. Development and center. Center and development. And now our Stonewall trademark move of f4. Center and future development in mind. Center, improving my bishop. So part of development. And defense, because it was under attack, so forced. Improving my piece, forced, and for free. Force move, white's better. He goes back, development and center. He goes here, king safety and development. Okay. Everything was fine, no blunders. So improve our position for free. And now development and improving the rook. You don't have to throw this in because it's a little slow. And the bishop's not actually like super developed here, but connecting the rooks is always a useful thing to do. Okay, we develop and center. Engine just says you have a better sequence, an only move sequence starting with knight takes knight, bishop takes knight, bishop takes bishop, pawn takes bishop, and you messed up his pawn structure around the king, which is true. So we could have gone for that. But instead, we just did a casual developing move and maintained the balance. He goes here, and again, it's the same story. Engine says there's still the line. You could take the knight, take the bishop. Here you don't mess it up as much, but Engine just still likes this. It says it's good for white, which, I mean, it looks good for white. But it also looks good for white if you don't do that and you're just here. So anyway, I jump my knight, improve a piece in the center. Once again, maintaining the balance. He takes, force move. He takes, force move. And it's like I thought, very equalish, but I prefer white with the knight here and the two pawns supporting it and the rooks, right? There's not so much material. There's not going to be some easy checkmate. But who would rather be black here? No one, right? Then he takes, and it goes from a playable game from both sides to white's immediately winning and crushing. We take with the pawn, so everything's even material-wise. But now we have access to his king. And with those ideas we saw in the game on the dark squares, he's not going to be able to stop me because he has no dark square control, right? He only has his queen, which is going to get overrun by rook, bishop, queen, and pawn. Oops. So he takes, giving up the dark squares, and you can see how this defender was absolutely necessary for the dark squares around his king. As soon as he gives it up, we have control over dark. And then he hangs a rook, but that wasn't even the point. For example, queen d5, queen g4, avoiding the trade and staying close to his king. You're going to go bishop h6, h4, h5. Get your queen to f6 if you can. And he just won't have anything to stop you with. For example, if he takes this pawn, which a lot of people will do, we're going to kick his rook. Rook's going to go, I mean, somewhere. Then queen f4 comes, and because his queen is off sides and on light now, there's no way for him to get back in time to stop the mate. So that's really bad. So you could see it's not about him hanging the rook. It's about the dark squares. Very important. But we take free stuff. And now improve a piece for free. And now improve a piece for free. His best move is queen e7. And best move is bishop g5, which we saw in advance. Now his queen has to go somewhere, probably ideally f8 to cover the dark checkmate diagonal. And then we can continue. We can kick the bishop, or we can repeat. We can put the bishop in here and then just run the h pawn up the board. You can start with just taking your pawn back in the center, and black doesn't really have anything to do. But he doesn't defend, and he just blunders mate in two. Awesome. So good luck in your chess. See you guys in the next one. Goodbye.